Okay, in this video we're going to continue on the series of Don't Eat the Yellow Snow. We are going to be working on collision detection. So we're just going to see if we can get through collision detection really fast, and we might be adding sounds. We'll see how it goes. So if you're just starting out, this is the 7th video. So you're going to want to go to the GitHub page. That is GitHub Programming Rainbow, and this is the wrong one. It is going to be yellow snow and C and SDL. And we are going to be continuing with the code that was done from video 6. So if you're just starting in this one, grab the code from video 6, delete the source directory, and just rename it or copy the source code in. We will be working in the source directory, but with the source code from video 6. Okay, so today we're going to be doing the collision detection. We've already done some things. We've already set some stuff up. We've set up the flakes. We know we can get the bottom and we can get the left and the right of them. And the snowman, we can get the top and the left and the right. And we actually have the offset ones. So what we're going to use is we're going to use those for actually detecting if these things have collided. And I'm going to do this in the game module because this affects the game state. What's going to happen with the game. So the logic for actually detecting the collisions is going to be done in game state. I do want to add something to flakes real quick, which is to know if the flake is actually white or yellow. So let's go to flakes H. Let's put a Boolean in here. We'll call it is white. Okay. And that should be enough for that. And then we'll go to the flakes, and we'll be, let's go back real quick. So on the new flake, we need to know if it is white or is it yellow. So we're going to add that. We'll say we can just call it is white as well. Okay, so we have this Boolean is white that's being passed into the new flake. Just want to check something real quick. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We're just using it as a member. So we're gonna pass this Boolean in when we create it. So in the function, we need it up here now. Okay, and we're gonna link it up with the member. So new flake is white equals is white. So that's going to link up what we passed into this function to the actual member of the new flake. Okay, so now we have this idea that we can check if a flake is white or not. In game, we're going to be getting an error because we need to pass these arguments in. So right here, where we're making yellow flakes, we'll just put false. And where we're making the white flakes, we'll put true. Okay, so now each flake is holding not only the image, the yellow or the white image as its image, it knows whether it's a yellow flake or a white flake. Okay, so that is that. Now let's start looking for collisions. So we can just make a function called check collision. And this is going to be just be used in our game C. So we can actually just prototype it in game C. We don't need it. It's not going to be used anywhere else. So at the top of game C, I'm just going to prototype the function here. This one's going to return a bool. Okay. So bool, we'll say check collision, and we just pass in the game struct. Okay, so there's our prototype, and it doesn't need to be in the header file because we're not using it anywhere else. It's only being called inside of the game module here. So we can do this right down here. I'll just make the function here. And we're going to return false right away. Okay, and what I'm going to do is we're going to need to go through the linked list of flakes. So I'm going to make a local flake variable. So struct, we got the flake. I'm just going to call it f. Going to be g flakes. Okay, so we're going to use that to increment in our while loop. But I also want to do something. So in my original code, I'm using those functions to check the bottom, say the bottom of the flake against the top of the player. But I do need to use that function for every flake, but I do not need to call it over and over again for the player. So what I could do is just set some local variables here for the player, just get them right away, so I don't need to call that function over and over again. So we can just say int. We're checking the top, so top equals. Do we have access to the player functions in game H? Hold on, let me check real quick. Let me check game H. Okay, we have access to the player functions, yes. Okay, where were we at? Right here. So we go player top, and we need to pass in the player. Okay, and we'll do that for left and right too, because we don't need to run these functions every time we're checking for every flake. The player hasn't moved inside of this loop. So player, and there, and then one last one. Okay. We could do it the other way. It's not really a big deal. C is very fast, but it just seems like we don't need to be calling that function over and over again. If we have 15 flakes, we don't need to call a function 15 times to get the exact same number back for where the top of the player is. Okay, so here's the loop for the checking the flakes. And we're using this local flake variable here, so we can keep changing it. So we'll check the bottom of the flake. And the flake bottom. And we're just using f to pass in for the flake. And flake bottom is bigger than top. And then we'll do the left and right. If we'll do flake, say, we'll do flake right is larger than player left. Oops, that's not what I meant. There we go. F is larger than left, and this is the left of the player. I mean, we can change these. It's good enough. So top left, yeah. Let's just make these so it's, so they're more readable. So anybody reading the code will immediately know what's going on. Player top, player left. Okay, so if the flake right is larger than player left, and the last check is if the flake left is smaller than the player right. Sorry, right. Let me check. So the bottom of the flake. So if the flake falling down the screen, the very bottom of the where the flake is has fallen further than our offset of where the head is. That means it's connecting with the head, but we don't know if that's anywhere in the screen at that level. So now we're checking if that has happened. Now we want to check if the right side of the flake is larger than the left side of the player. Now we need to check. Now that could be anywhere on the screen that is that from the head down and from the left of the player all the way to the right of the screen. So now we also need to check, is the left side of the flake smaller than the right side of the player? So if this has happened, we have made contact. So we're kind of in that imaginary box, that smaller box we made of the player and the flake are those two squares or rectangles are colliding. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this out to another function now. So I'm going to make another function called handle collision. So right here, we'll say return true. Oh, sorry. We're going to handle collision. And if that returns true, we're going to return true. So the way we're going to, let's make our handle collision function real quick. Prototype it. It's going to be the same. We're passing the game and the flake in this time. So up here, and this is also going to be bool. We're going to pass in the game. But we also want to know the specific flake that this is happening with. Okay, so right down here, we're going to handle what happens when this, because we don't, it could be a white flake or could be a yellow flake. We might need to stop the game. We might need to make a sound happen. We might need to change the score. So this is going to handle all the logic of what that's going to do. So I'm just going to put it above called object type int is not. Hold on, let me just put this here real quick before I look at that. Just put a default in there real quick. We got a default in here. So what are we complaining about here? This is returning an int, yes. I'm going to compile. This isn't helping me right here, so I'm just going to compile it and see what the error message says there. Okay, unused parameter. Yeah. Okay. It's not a function or a function pointer. Is it because, oh, it's because I'm using the same. Okay, let's just do this. Let's just say p top. I'm using the same name as the function name. Okay. What's going on down here? Same deal. Okay, so now that still doesn't answer why this flake bottom. Did I call it flakes? Okay, hold on. Did I not? make them. I didn't make them. Okay, that's why. So let's make them real quick. They'll be very easy to make because they're they're just. Let me just check the. I know what I'm doing. This is my fault. This is the source code from video 5, not video 6. So I expected these functions to be here, and I needed to make the I needed to upload all the source code for video 5, and I had forgot to do it, so I had reverted this source. So I'm just going to take the what's in here. This is flakes. These guys right here. I just need the whole file. Oh, okay, just delete these. Okay. So I might have some other problems in the code because of this exact same situation here. So let's just clear all these out. And this guy should be fine. Okay. Yeah, because I had forgot to kind of freeze the source code to put up for video 5. So I went into video 6 or the source directory and I reverted it back to where I was at 5 and copied it over. And then I forgot to switch it back for this video. So we do have the left, the right, the bottom now in flakes. Now we can go into game C and we shouldn't be getting that argument. We do have to update flakes to this new the new version where we got the white. Bool is white. We got it there and over here, right here is white, and then over here oh, I've already done it there. Okay, okay. So this is a bool. Okay. So I got our bool is white. There's bool is white. In game, we are already good. So back down to where we were working. So yeah, I was shadowing the names of player top without thinking. So we have these. This is all working. We have our collision up here. And what needs to happen in collision is we need to check, is this the white flake or not? So this will be F is white. And we'll do an else on that. So we're going to just kind of, we should be incrementing our score and playing a sound effect and then resetting the flake. If it's white. If it's yellow, we actually need to stop playing the game. We will stop the music and we'll stop the sound, but none of that stuff is implemented yet. So we will just set the return false. We'll do a say printf white, and we'll do this printf yellow or something like that. And what we need to do is if it's white, we want to reset the flake. If it is yellow, we'll tell the game to stop. We won't do that yet. We'll just reset the flake as well. For now, we'll just reset both of them. So we can do flake reset, and we need the flake, which is F, and then this will be false because it's normal in-game reset. And we'll just do this exact same for here for now, just to see this working, just to see if our collision is working. And then we'll make changes to that. So right now we are calling struct. See, if this is true, we're returning true. So the reason why I'm returning a Boolean from this is because in here, this function check collision is calling handle collision. In handle collision, I will be dealing with playing of audio later, and I was being quite strict about it. We can leave it. None of these are setting it to true. We'll just leave it. So in here, we are running this function, and we're gonna say if, or yeah, we can just say if handle collision, and this is going to be the game, and this is the flake. And we're just going to return true. That's just passing it down. So if this was to give us true back, which it's not right now, but if it was, this is going to return true back, and where we're going to call this. So let's just step through this really quick. So we want to check the collision of the flake against the player, all the flakes against the player. So what we're doing is we're getting a local variable to the head of flakes that we can increment through the whole flake list. So we're setting that there. We want just a one-off top, left, and right of where the player is, so we don't need to get that information over and over again. So we're holding that here. And now we're going through the entire flake dynamic link list, and we are checking that if it's the rectangles have collided. So the bottom against the top of the player, the right against the left of the player, the left against the right of the player. And then we're checking what kind of collision it was, whether it was a white or yellow flake. And if something has failed in here that we need to shut the game down, we are going to return that whole thing back, because there might be a failure here. So we got to return it back to here, which we're going to return it back to where we're calling. So what we're going to do is we're going to update the player, we're going to update the flake, and then after we update the flake, we are going to check the collision. And since this is returning possibly a true statement, we're going to wrap this in an if statement. This is check collision, and this is just G. If check collision is true, we're going to return true. We're just propagating the error down the line. Okay, so right now we are not changing the state of the game or anything like that. We are just checking the collision, and we should see on the screen it's going to say white or yellow if we have those collisions. So let's just check that before we go any further and see if that is running. Whoops. Okay, is white unused parameter. Let's see. I think I'm never setting it. Yeah, we forgot to, because of the issue I had with the files. We didn't set it here, so I'll just do that real quick. We did set it earlier in the video, but because I deleted that file, I have to redo it. Okay. Okay, now we got something else going on. Unused parameter game. Check handle. Oh, we're never using this. Hold on. That we will be using it, but we're just not using it yet. It's in the handle. Where are we at? Right here, we're never using this guy yet. I'm just going to cast it to void. That should hopefully, yeah. And then we've made some kind of mistake. Okay, let me close it, please. Okay, I'm going to kill the whole program. So we have something in one of those loops. I forgot to increment the flake is what happened. So let's do that. I did that in the other video as well, the exact same thing. I got kind of off my game there with that error that was really stop messing me up for a while. So in game, I already know where it is. It's the I didn't increment the flake for the dynamic link list right here. So it just sat in this and just looped infinitely without ever even checking the next flake. So this is f equals, okay, that one little thing there will just destroy the program. I got it nested. Oh, it's not going well. Let's just try that again. All right. Let's make it bigger. Okay. This time. There we go. So we should start seeing white, yellow. Yep. There's yellow. There's yellow. There's a white flake. And we're seeing them down here. So we are seeing collisions occur. There's a white, white, white. Okay. So we could change the game state real quick. We can make sure that the game stops, or we could start loading sound effects. I kind of want to go for the sound effects since we're a little bit into this video. So let's start up the whole sound library and jump into that and get that going. Instead of doing a little bit more with making the game pause and stuff like that, how about we make different sounds happen for the yellow and the white flakes? So we need to initialize the mixer module for SDL in here, and it's going to be right here. We're going to use mix init, and this one works just like the way the flags of the image module works, where we pass in flags and then we check the flags. We use an binary OR operation to check to see what flags have been used. So we're going to be doing that exact same thing here. So I think I just used local flags on the, where is it? The image library. SDL flags. Did I never initialize the image library? That can be right. Well, if I didn't initialize it, I should have. Yeah. Well, it's going to be the exact same way the other one should have been initialized. We're initializing SDL. It should be right here. It still works whether it's initialized or not, but yeah. So I'm going to make a let's see, in the header file, in the main H, I'm going to put my flags that I want to initialize. So I have this SDL flags right here, and I'm going to put the flags for the image and the flags for the mixer here. So for the mixer, we are going to be using OG for this specific one, so I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to call it mixer. I don't want to step on, I don't know if there is something called mix flags, so I'm just going to call it mixer flags. Okay, so we're going to be initializing OG. Oops. And in initialize, I'm gonna be capturing the output of the mixer. So I don't know if I talked about this before. I did it in the very first video series, but basically I'm going to put a flag into this. The mixer initializer is going to use those flags, and it's going to spit out a number 2. And both of these are kind of encoded binary representations of what things were turned on. So I actually only care about the things that I've asked to be turned on, and I need to check if those things have been turned on. So I'm going to be using what's called a binary OR operation. This is all explained in detail in the first video, or the first video series on the beginner's guide to SDL and C. So I'm not going to explain it very much here. I'm just going to, I want to capture the output, so we'll call them mix flags, mix init. This is just the out. This is just what I'm holding, how I'm grabbing the output of this function. But the function and the mixer, for some reason, is not all capitalized like other SDL things. It's capital M and then small ix. So, and this is going to be the mixer flags that I just created in the main.h. Okay, so when I do that, it's going to give me the output of this, and now I need to check it with this OR operation. Oh, sorry, binary AND. Not an OR, but a binary AND is what I mean. So I'm basically ANDing these together. This is creating a mask, and this is going to mask out only the things I wanted to know about. If these are set in here, that it's going to still be set. If other things were set here, they're going to be filtered out. And then I check, was it actually what I wanted to be set? Okay, and I did spend some time explaining this in detail. So we need an error case. I'll just grab this error down here. Okay, I think oh, we need to, we need to bring in main.h, we need to bring in the actual module for this. That's why it's complaining. So this is an SDL2 module, and it's called mixer.h. That will give us the capability of that. This is already set up in the makefile, so you don't need to adjust the makefile because they're basically all turned on. I've already turned them all on. So we're getting an error from mix here. So I'm going to change this SDL get error to mix. And we'll say initializing SDL mixer. And that will get the error. So that will initialize that. Yeah, I do want to set up the the image one because I've forgotten that. So I think right now we should set that up too. It's going to be very much like this. It should have been here. And it still works without it, but I just like it to be a little more correct. So we'll do the same thing with this. We'll call this image init, and this is image, and then this will be, say, image flags. Is what we'll call this. And the same thing's coming out of here. I missed this in the prior video, probably the third video. So we're doing the exact same thing. The image module has the same init thing, and we're just capturing it the same way. We're doing this binary and to mask out the answer that we want and checking it if that's sure that is correct. And this will be image, and this will be an image error. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to set this guy up right here. And I'll just do that real quick. That needs to be done in over here. So this should have been say image flags, and this will be img, and this will be init, and it's PNG that we're using. Those are the PNG. That's the only real flags we need turned on. So let's see if that is correct in the other file. And initialize. So we are setting up image, even though it should have already been set up. And now we're setting up the mixer. Okay. We actually need to open audio too, but I just want to make sure both of these are closed down so I don't forget anything. So I'm going to go into game C, and in the cleanup, so we're already quitting image like it should have been, but we also need to quit mix. Okay, so, and I'm just going to run it real quick just to make sure there's no mistakes made. Okay, nothing new is happening. That's just fine as long as there's no errors occurring. Okay, so we also need to open the audio. So we'll still do that in initialize. So we have SDL initializing, we have the image library initializing, we have the mixer initializing. We need to open an audio for the mixer. And I'm going to be using all the defaults. Let's show you what that looks like. There isn't a, so there's something called mix default frequency, mix default format, and mix default channels. There is a kind of a default setting for all of these, but it is not mentioned on this page for some reason. So that is in the actual header file if you want to read the header file, but I'm going to use those defaults. And the very last thing, the chunk size, I'm going to use there's two recommendeds, 1024 or 2048. I'm going to use the 1024. That will give us a smaller chunk size, but it'll be less laggy. If you do get crackling from your sound, you might need to increase that. But I'm just kind of going with safe defaults here. So I'm going to use this, and this can fail. And if it does, it's going to be putting out a 0 on success or negative on fail. So I am going to be just wrapping this in an if statement. So like I said, I'm going to use all these mixed default, and they are default. Or sorry, they are in the SDL_mix.h file physically. That would be on your system, but unfortunately, they're not mentioned on the wiki page. Default. Yeah, here it is. Format, frequency. So this one is format. So I just want to use the default format. And I want to use the default channels. And there's another thing that's confusing. This channels is talking about mono or stereo or 5.1 or all that. There's another thing, channels, which is talking about how many sound effects you can play at one time, and that's a different thing. But for this is going to be stereo, but it's the mix. I'm going to use mixed default, but it is stereo. Default channels, that's what this is talking about. And then we were talking about the chunk size, which is explained. Where's chunk size? Right here. Number of samples per frame. If this gets too small, you get dropped information, which causes crackling. If it's too large, you'll notice a delay. The larger you make this, the more the delay. I'm going to use 1024 on it, or 25. And we are wrapping this in an if statement. So I have caps lock on. Okay, and we will just say something like error opening audio. Opening audio. Yeah, sure. And this will be a mix error again. Okay. Did I miss something here? I probably spelled frequency wrong, didn't I? Yes, I did. There's no U there. Okay, so we've initialized, we're opening our audio. We need to do the reverse of this, which is close the audio. So back in game. And this is kind of me freeing the modules that are being held in game. This is me freeing the actual memory that is holding the resources we need to deal with. This is me shutting down the windows and stuff. And then here, I'm going to close the audio. And that is, let's see here, close audio. And it's just a void. It's just saying, hey, close everything down. So I'm just going to do the reverse of that. Next, close audio. I'm going to keep that separate from the other. There might be other things that need to be closed down, like TTF needs to be, yeah, I'll just put it kind of separate. So now we're doing all that. So that's done with the initialization. Let's just make sure it runs. Okay, and it closes. Perfect. Now we need to load some actual audio sounds. So the function that loads audio sounds is mix load wave. Even though we're loading OGG files, it's just called load wave, and they're going to be loading chunk. The type is chunk, and we're going to be using two different sounds. So I have a collect sound and a halt sound. So we need to make those sounds real quick, and then we can load them. So they're going to be held in game because game is holding all the resources. So right here, I'm going to put it above these kind of struct guys that we're doing with. So this is a mix chunk. A chunk is a like a small effects audio sound, whereas there'll be mixed music later for actually playing music sounds. So we'll have a collect sound, and we'll have another one. A collect sound and a hit sound. Collect sound, hit sound, yeah. And in game, we need to take care of these resources. So I'll show you that real quick. It's called free chunk, so we need to use this. So we are going to be loading the sounds, so we're going to free them with the, yeah, we can just put it here, It's a mix, sorry. Mix free chunk. And it's going to be collect sound and hit sound. Collect sound. And we need to nullify that pointer. Mix free chunk. Hit sound. And we will null that one as well. Okay, so we are making sure that they're there. We're making sure that we clean them up. Let's load them. So this will be in media load, where we're loading all our media. So let's look at this function. It's right here actually. So it is mix load wave, and it just takes in the file name and it returns back a pointer to a chunk. That's why we're managing it the way we are. So that is pretty straightforward. So mix load wave. Say hit sound. Wave. I think it's wave is all capital. And we need the actual name of the file. So here are our sound files, which is collect and hit. So since we're doing hit, that was the first thing that popped up, we'll do the hit sound. So this needs to be in the sounds, and then hit.og. Okay. And we need to check this now, just like we do with all these other ones here, because it's returning a pointer to heap allocated memory. Hit sound, error loading, we'll say chunk. And this needs to be mix. Error loading chunk, it's a mix, yes, all good. So let's do the other one real quick. The collect sound. And this is going to be collect dog. And this right here. And the same error message. Okay, so now we should be loading and unloading actual sound files. Perfect, perfect. We're not playing the sounds yet, but and no issues closing. So now let's play them. So the way that we play sound files is over here, free in the chunk. So we're going to do mix play channel, and we have by default we have 8 channels that sounds can be played on. That means we can play eight up to 8 sounds at once, and then after that they won't play. So if we were checking errors on this and you try to play 8 sounds or 9 sounds, your game would crash or not crash, but if you were doing the shutdown on a failure, it would shut your game down. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let it play until it runs out of the channels, and then it just doesn't play the sounds anymore, but the game keeps playing because it's not a major issue. That means like if you collected 8 snowflakes before the sound stopped playing from the first one, it wouldn't be able to put another sound there. Now we could manage this and do this really complicated, but I'm just going to let whatever sounds can't be put there, just let them fail. And then when there's a channel open again, a sound will be able to play again. So I'm not going to worry about any of that. So I'm not checking the failure of this. And I don't care what channel is put on, so I'm going to use -1. Yeah, -1, it'll just be put on whatever channel is available. So I'm going to put it on whatever channel is available. I'm going to pick my sound effect, and I'm not going to loop it. So the loop is going to be set to 0, and I'm not checking the return, like I said. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's do that. So this is going to happen in our game file. Sorry, up, where is it? Maybe it's not here. There it is. So at our handle collision function, right here. So right here, instead of saying, instead of this print statement here, we could put in our function. And this is a white flake, so we'll say this is a good one, this is collect. So I think it's -1 first for the channel, and then it's going to be G collect sound, and then it's going to be 0 for the loop. Okay? And let's do the exact same thing for the yellow, but the yellow, it's a hit. It's not, we've made a mistake on the yellow. We've hit a yellow piece and it's not good. So it's a hit sound effect. And both of these are resetting the flake for now. That's fine. Let's just see if we have some sounds happening. Let's just play this and see if it works. Yeah, the yellow one makes that dead sound, and the white ones are more sparkly sound. Okay, so that is perfect. So we have sound effects with our collisions now. So I kind of want the game to stop playing when the, what am I doing? I want the game state to change when we've hit a yellow flake. The game is going to be over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new variable in game.h, and it's going to be called playing. Yeah. We can just put it anywhere. I'll put it here. It's a bool. So we'll say it's playing. And then in game, where we're initializing the game, when everything is all done, let's see here, we're doing all the things, and I'm going to set that to true. So it'll be G. Okay, G playing is true. We do have G in here, right? Yes, we do. Okay. So I'm setting that to true. And what I want to happen is I don't want the game to shut down if we hit a yellow flake. I just want the update process to stop. So the drawing, I want that to keep happening, actually. I want to keep being able to get input. Okay. But right here, I don't want any of this to happen. The player updating, the player moving, the flakes moving, the collision detection, all of this I don't want to happen. So the game is still effectively running, but it's not like in the playing state where it's updating the player, it's updating flakes, it's checking collisions. If it's not playing, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go if playing, and that's a G playing. We're going to do these things. And if we're not playing, we're not going to do them. Okay, so this is going to disable the game. Let's see, but we want to be able to re-enable the game as well. So I have game reset. So right, where are we resetting? I thought we, oh, I'm looking at the old code again. I am looking at, this is all because of that kerfuffle earlier with the using the code from video 5. But basically, I'm going to recreate what you probably already have. I need to check if the spacebar was pressed. You should already have this. It's just because of the mistake I made earlier. Okay, so if space, and we're going to break. So I want to reset the game. So what I can do is I can reset the flakes already, and I can reset the player in the player, if I have that in there. Yeah. So, but I don't want to call them all here. What I want to do is only do it if it needs to be done. If space bar is pressed and if we're not playing. Because I don't want the game to reset if we're in the middle of playing. So if we're not playing, I want it to reset then. So if not playing, now I can do a game reset. And I don't have a function right now for that. I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to create it. So that's going to be game reset up here. I'll just put that up here. Do I need to check? Yeah, I do need to check. So this is going to be a bool. We're going to possibly have failure come down the line. Let's check the player reset. Do I even have player reset here? Player right, player reset, yes. Player resets void. So I don't need a bool from that. Okay, I know why. Yeah, it's going to be later. So this is going to be, it's because of it's because of later on in the code. This is going to need to be. So yeah, we need to create that function. It later on we will be using the Boolean part of it. Right now we're not, but we'll just put it there anyway. So we'll call it game reset. And it's going to take the game. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just put it right under the this check right here. So this will be calling the player reset and the resetting of the player and the resetting of um, the flakes. So it will do some other stuff as well. It'll reset music later on and yeah, but we're not doing it right now. Reset. Okay, do we have a flakes reset? That is a question. Okay, flakes. Flakes free, flake reset, flakes reset, yes. And are we prototyping up here? No, we're not. Okay, so we do have a flakes reset. Okay. And we need to pass in the head of the flakes. Yeah, okay, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, and we need to reset the player as well. Okay, reset the flakes, reset the player. And we need to set the play boolean back to true again. Playing. Okay, so basically if we reset the game, we're putting the player back, we're putting the flakes back, and we're setting it back to true, so though the update of this update happens again. So if the collision happens, we need to set the game state to false right here. So on the yellow one, so if the white happens, we're good. If the yellow happens, we need to make the game playing false. Okay, And I will just remove the, no, not the remove those, sorry. We don't need this. Okay, let's try that, see where we're at with that. So the white's good, yeah. Let's hit a yellow flake. And that stopped the game. So I'll try the spacebar. And that didn't work. So we've done something wrong. Oh, I don't know if we put the function in there yet. Hold on. So we might need to just link it up. Yeah, we never put anything in here. So this will be game reset. And we are checking if this is true or false. So I'm going to wrap this, even though we're not putting any true statement here now. In the future, I know that there will be a true and false from this later. So if it is, I'm going to return true, because we will be dealing with playing sound or playing music, and we will be dealing with resetting the score, and the score is generating images that could fail. So if that happens, we will have a failure out of this. Okay, so that should be correct. Game state. So I'm pressing space now and nothing's happening. Okay, because we're still playing. It's not resetting anything. Now here we go. Now I'm going to press space and it reset. Now, like I said before, I am 50-50 on whether I should reset the snowman himself. So I'll show you what it looked like if we didn't do that. We could just go to here and disable it. And it's kind of nice that way, actually, but it's 50-50 whether it's good or not. So over here, and then if I reset the snowman, the flakes reset, but the snowman doesn't. And when the game is over, I can't move the character. So the game is actually still refreshing 60 times a second. It's still taking input, but it's ignoring my left and right because that happens inside a game update, and that game update is not being called. But I can still press escape to close it. I can still press space to reset it, and those still work. So I think that is pretty far into it there. I'm going to end the video here with all that. Sorry about the mistakes earlier. So what I had done is I had recorded video 5, and before uploading the source code for video 5, grabbing what was in my source folder and calling it that, I had then recorded video 6, and then I took that source code as video 6 and I had to revert it back to extrapolate out what video 5 source code should have been. And then I started this video from there on accident. So that kind of really had me going there for a second. I was a bit stuck. But let's go through everything that we did real quick. We did fix an error with non-loading when we were not initializing the image library. So on the things we're initializing, we are initializing the image library correctly now. We are initializing mixer. We are opening an audio. And then we are shutting all those down in game. So in game, we are closing that audio, and then we are quitting the mixer, and we were already quitting. We do load the chunks in load media. They're loaded with mix load wave. We're loading our 2 sound effects, and we are taking care of them in, or we are destroying them here, which is mix free chunk for both of those. And then we did all the collision detection, which was pretty simple actually. It was just a matter of getting a local flake node variable to the head of the flakes list, and getting our top, bottom, left, and right just as kind of locals, so we can run through this list really quick. And it just does a while loop on the dynamic link list, and you have to make sure that you increment it down here, as I keep forgetting. And then we're checking the bottom against the top and the left against the right and the right against the left. And then we're doing the collision code up here. This will get a little bit more complicated later where we're pausing music and we're resetting the score and everything like that. But for right now, that's pretty good. We're playing our chunks here, and there's one more thing that I want to do, just to be really good on the way out. We're playing music, and what we can do is we can halt all music if we put a -1, and I want to do that before I forget. So in game, when we're cleaning everything up, right down here, I'm just going to tell it to halt all music. This, just like the initializing of the image libraries, is not strictly necessary, but I think it's just good practice. So I'm going to halt all music and then close audio and then quit the mixer. And I'm sorry, I'm going to move this to above freeing of the before I free the chunks. That's where it needs to be. So I'm going to halt the music and then free the chunks. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that was okay. The next video we will probably be cleaning up a little bit. We still have things like we haven't done anything with the TTF library yet for making our score, and we haven't played any music yet. So we still have those things to do, but we are kind of looking a lot more like a game now. Let's see it again real quick. Oops. Yeah, this does look almost like a game. And you might be seeing this slower than me because I'm recording this at 30 frames a second, but the game is playing at 60 frames a second. So it is smoother than what you might be seeing in the video. Oh, we also have another video coming up on using delta time, and where you will be able to set the game to be playing at whatever speed you want it set at, and everything will still move in the correct way that they should be moving. So that will be its own video on delta time. So thanks for watching. Bye.